On Tuesday, President Biden delivered his State of the Union address to Congress. And in this time of divided government, I was glad to see the President making more than one nod to bipartisanship. I do think this moment, with power split between Democrats and Republicans, provides a real opportunity to work together, to move away from the extreme partisanship of the past couple of years and make some real progress on some of the issues facing us. But the President's speech also left me concerned, because the President demonstrated almost no awareness of what actually happened as a result of his policies. Indeed, at times it seemed as if the President had lived through a different reality from the one most Americans have been experiencing over the past 2 years. The President rattled off a list of his supposed economic achievements. And I say supposed because he left out some vitally important context. He claimed credit for the historic job creation, while leaving out the essential detail that a lot of that job creation was simply a result of the economy, naturally adding back jobs temporarily lost during the pandemic. He talked about wage growth, while leaving out the fact that real wages have declined because of inflation over his presidency. And he appeared to take credit for the fact that inflation has declined somewhat in recent months, while neglecting to mention that it was his administration and congressional Democrats who helped create our inflation crisis with their American Rescue Plan spending spree. Nor did the President spend any time discussing just how bad inflation still is and how much Americans are still suffering. Inflation in December was 6.5%. The last time inflation was that bad was in 1982. 1982. 40 years ago. I'm glad inflation has declined somewhat, but I don't think the President has a lot to be congratulating himself about. Even if prices stopped increasing tomorrow, Americans would still be paying thousands of dollars more over the next year to achieve the same standard of living that they had when the...
Uh-oh, friends. I have breaking news from the Congressional Budget Office. Medicare and Social Security insolvency is right around the corner, and many are urging that President Biden take executive action as soon as possible to prevent any benefit cuts. This could affect millions of low-income households. So friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video. Also, I will be giving away 2 $75 Walmart gift cards tomorrow. If you'd like to enter the weekly giveaways, all you have to do, friends, is make sure that you are subscribed to my channel, click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, my dear friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Republicans and Democrats have 2 different messages to all seniors and retirees. President Biden is accusing Republicans of wanting to cut Medicare and Social Security. He says he will protect these key pillars of the social safety net. Republicans, while they do want cuts to deal with runaway Washington spending, they have promised they won't touch Medicare and Social Security or any defense spending. Biden's promise is focused on Florida Senator Rick Scott's proposal to require federal laws, including those safety net programs, to expire after 5 years if they are not renewed by Congress. But according to many experts, this promise seems completely political. Also, Republicans' promise to make cuts without touching the safety net seems mathematically impossible. The truth is that within 5 years, the trust fund that funds Medicare hospital coverage, which is Medicare Part A, will have a zero balance. In their annual report that was released last June, Medicare's trustees reported that the Hospital Insurance Trust Fund will bring in $412.6 billion in 2023, but it will spend $415.6 billion. That means it will spend $3 billion more than it generates in revenue this year. The Hospital Insurance Trust Fund will be completely gone by the year 2028, which means the government has 5 years to change the equation. An ever so slightly more optimistic view from the Congressional Budget Office is that the Hospital Insurance Trust Fund will be depleted by the year 2030. So now many are wondering what happens if the trust fund is depleted. According to Medicare's trustees, they have said if assets were depleted, Medicare could pay health plans and providers of Part A services only to the extent allowed by ongoing tax revenues, and these revenues would be inadequate to fully cover costs. Beneficiary access to healthcare services could rapidly be curtailed. It is clear that Medicare is warning that without the trust fund, some services would be cut quickly. The Congressional Budget Office suggests there would be an 8% cut in spending in the very first year. Natalie Davis, who is a former official at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, has recently told CNN News, Congress is going to act before this happens, if our history tells us anything. If the trust fund is depleted, that does not mean Medicare will suddenly cease operating. Medicare Part B, which covers physician, outpatient, and home health services, and Medicare Part D, which covers prescriptions, have different funding mechanisms, including premiums paid by Medicare enrollees and money from the Treasury. The financial outlook of Social Security, which is a retirement and disability program that pays more than 65 million Americans a check once a month, is quite a bit different than it is for Medicare. The cost of Social Security, which is funded through payroll taxes, began to be higher than its income in 2021 and will be higher in all future years. The two Social Security trust funds, both of which own U.S. debt in the form of treasuries, should cover costs for the next decade. The trust fund that pays checks to seniors will be depleted in the year 2034. Starting in 2035, Social Security would only be able to pay 77% of benefits without any government action. The Congressional Budget Office has slightly dimmer views and says the trust fund that backs checks to seniors will be exhausted in the year 2033. So, dear friends, what are your thoughts on all of this and what's going on in Congress in order to make Social Security solvent for the next 75 years? The trustees have done the math and say three things can be done. First, it's to increase the payroll tax that funds Social Security from 12.4% to 15.6%. Second is to reduce benefits by more than 20% to all current and future recipients, or more than 24% for future beneficiaries. The third is to combine some version of the tax increase and the benefit reduction. There are several other ideas floating around. The Bipartisan Policy Center released a detailed proposal in 2016 that suggested changing the benefit formula and gradually raising the full retirement age by 2 years to 69 years old will make a big difference. President Biden has suggested taxing the wealthy or raising corporate taxes. Others have suggested a wealth tax to bring in more revenue. Republicans have pushed spending cuts, although it's not clear what exactly they would cut. Well, my marvelous and magnificent dear friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this Thursday. Thank you, my friends, for joining me here every day, and most especially for being part of this community. I want you all to know that I greatly appreciate every single one of you. I will be announcing 2 winners tomorrow for a $75 Walmart gift card. If you'd like to enter the weekly giveaway, my friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos, and then do comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. My dear friends, the more videos that you watch and then leave a comment on, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Thank you, friends, and have a wonderful and very blessed Thursday.